All right, so welcome to the Bridleless Driving Challenge. So the reason I call it a challenge is because honestly it is. There's not many people out there that teach driving bridleless and very few people that actually do it. So I've been studying a lot of how to teach a horse to drive and then going back to the fundamentals and saying, okay, how do I teach it at liberty? And as you can tell, Floki is the main man and the main actor and character in this. He's very confident, he's very friendly, and he is a perfect horse to try this challenge with. Because in my opinion, when you're thinking about driving bridleless, you need a horse that thinks, you need a horse that's confident, and that's willing to work with you throughout the whole process. So today what we're going to work on is we're going to introduce the backup with the neck rope, because that is going to be our stop cue when we eventually hook up the cart and start driving him. He has to have a good stop and he has to have a good backup before I even think about adding on the cart or any pressure when I'm tied to him. Then I'm going to walk through a little bit of walk and trotting and changing directions from behind him, because I really need him to get comfortable with not only me but the stick and everything else that goes in behind him. And I'm going to add in a couple ropes today and just really walk you through step by step how we go from a horse that knows nothing about driving to getting them confident from not only with a person behind them but a wagon with wheels and things touching them and a whole bunch of ropes. And it's just really important that they get used to it all before we attach anything to them, and we're going to show you how we're going to do that. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to warm up Floki. Before I think about driving him, I just want him to get connected with me. I want him to get relaxed with me. I want him coming with me at liberty. If you know anything about liberty, all right, the draw to me is the most important thing. I need him to think about coming with me, thinking about using his mind to connect with me, and that way when I'm behind him, he's already thinking about being there. So again, I'm just going to kind of walk him through a little bit of a warm up here. Not too long, but if he were to start running away a lot or not wanting to come into me and thinking about other things, then I would know that he wouldn't be ready to start driving. You see, he just picked up a little canter there. He's thinking a little bit away from me, so I'm just going to try it again and then ask him to canter again. Good. And I want him to stay just a little bit closer. And again, if you're thinking about doing and teaching your horse to drive bridleless, they need to have a really good liberty foundation first. And what a liberty foundation to me is they need to be able to walk, trot, and canter at the shoulder, both directions, in the left side and the right side, and they need to be able to walk, trot, and canter circles around you to the left and to the right. So I'm just kind of walking you through all of that, because again, it's really important that when my horse is attached to anything, that they're confident with what it is that they're doing, and they're confident at all three gaits. All right, walk, trot, canter, because you just never know when they're going to want to pick up each gait, and I want to make sure that Floki is confident in each of those gaits. Good. So he feels pretty connected. He feels pretty relaxed. He feels with me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on the driving piece, because that's what you're here all to see. So I'm just going to start by just asking him to go forward, and I'm going to ask him just to start walking with me. And you see, I'm really started to get kind of directly behind him, and I'm going to start being able to use this stick to guide him. Good. So I just want to be able to push him out just a little bit there. He wants to go towards the gate, and I just use that stick kind of to tap on that shoulder to ask him to go the direction that I want. Okay, so he picks up a trot, and I didn't ask him to do that, but he didn't leave me. I'm just going to keep guiding him forward until he pushes that shoulder over and goes straight, and then I'm going to try it again. Okay, because to me he's not really that connected yet. Good. He's thinking about getting out of whatever it is that I'm asking him to do. All right, and I just want him to kind of relax doing this right now. The right side is his hard side. Good. That's it. He's thinking about going away. He's thinking about trotting, but he hasn't left me. Good boy. You know, so I'm just going to pet him. I'm not going to give him any cookie there or anything like that. I'm just going to tell him he's a good boy because he thought about leaving, but then he stayed with me. I just want him to find a nice little walk right here and relax. Good. That's it. He's walking a little bit faster than I would like, but that's okay. Good. So I'm gonna ask him to go by you guys here, turn a little bit away from that gate. We're gonna go down that rail again. Good. And just little by little, he's gonna get softer. And you see how he's kind of flicking his head and getting sassy? All of that is telling me that he's not ready for the next step yet. So we're just gonna go here until he gets a little bit softer, doesn't lean against me. Good. And just thinks about going forward and relaxing. But if you can remember from the last video, we're already way ahead of where we were. Good. So I'm going to change directions now. So I'm going to ask him to go to the left. Good. He wanted to speed up on me. I'm glad he stopped. Good. And then I'm going to ask him to go to the other way. All right. So anytime he wants to speed up, you know, again, there's no ropes attached, so he can go forward. And this is why I want to teach him at Liberty before I start attaching anything to him, because I need him to think, stay connected even though I'm behind him. Good. Really nice job, buddy. And this stick is just going to be my guiding tool. All right, and I'm going to have a neck rope on him eventually, right, which will be my emergency stop. But I want to think stop, and he stopped. So he was a little bit late there, but it wasn't too bad. And I'm just going to give him a little cookie here to say, hey, yep, thanks for letting me be there. I don't give him a cookie every time, but when he's starting to pay attention, I reward him to say, hey, it's okay when I'm back here. Because if he can't accept me back here, and he can't steer with me back here, he's not going to be able to steer with something attached to him. Because I'm not going to go just straight from Liberty to hooking up the cart. I'm going to try other things first where it's dragging, so that then when he's ready to be hooked up to a cart and he's confident with the cart and he's confident at Liberty, then we're starting to do something pretty special. Good. But you see, so now we're starting to think, yeah, he's starting to connect with me a little bit. So I'm just going to ask him to trot. Good boy. That's it, because when I'm driving, I'm going to be doing a lot of walking and trotting. I like how we wanted to stop there. Good boy. Good boy. That's it. Good. But I like that he's really thinking stop right now. It's really good. That's it. I'm not going to ever make it a punishment when he stops, because that's what the connection is. Good boy. Good. And I'm going to take a deep breath. And you see how he stops just on my energy? That's exactly what I'm looking for, because I need him to be paying attention to what it is that I'm doing back here. Even though he's going away from me and I'm driving him away, he's still thinking forward. And you see how he walked away from me there? I'm going to ask him to go forward. All right, now you see Finn here, my dog. He wants to help out. Because I asked Floki to go forward. Finn, down. Good. Down. So good. So I'm asking our little cattle dog here, he wants to help us. But I see Floki wasn't paying attention. So I just asked him forward. Instead of trying to catch up to him and chase him, I'm asking him to say, hey, I'm right here. And then I'm going to ask him to come back in and say, hey, I need you to pay attention to me more. Because right there, he wasn't paying attention to me. He wanted to just walk off when he wanted to walk off. Then I'm going to ask him to go forward again. That's it. And if he doesn't want to stop and then back up, nope. I want him to stop. Good. And I want him to back up. Good. And when he does that, I release it. But this is really important, because I could tell even before he was thinking about leaving me. If you watch from the beginning of the session to now, he was thinking about leaving. He was connected, but he wasn't fully connected. So that time I stopped and I asked him to back up, but he just kept walking away. Right? I don't have anything attached to him. Right? Later on, when he's right in the cart, I'll have a little neck rope, and that'll be my security blanket. But I want him first and foremost to be connected to me, right? So he's got to have a good stop, Good, and he's got to have a good backup. Good boy. See, now he's a little bit more connected. So the cool thing about teaching him at Liberty is that he can leave, he can get out any of the spunk he has, and then he can come back. Where when he's attached to anything, it's just building up and up and up inside of him, all of that extra motivation for him to be sometimes a little bit naughty, and he can't let it out. And if he wants to be naughty here, I'm going to allow him to do that by going forward. Good. So the biggest thing is I want him to be soft going forward. I want him to be soft stopping and backing up. So I'm going to ask him to trot again. Good. A little bit more. Good boy. Good boy. Then I'm going to ask him to stop. Then I'm going to ask him to back up. Good boy. See, that right there was perfect because he stayed with me the whole time. So again, for him, cookies work. For a lot of horses, they don't necessarily work, but for him, it works well. So you see how he wants to go forward? I'm just going to ask him to move his shoulder over. Good. Then I'm going to ask him to back up again. Nope, nope, don't turn and face me. Right? Because again, he's trying to figure it out. And so I want him to stop. And because again, he wants to turn and face. So I'm going to ask him to go forward. Then I'm going to ask him to come back around. I'm going to ask him to go to the rail. Then I'm going to stop and back up again. Good. So he was just kind of getting confused there with what it is that I wanted. Good. Good boy. Remember, there's no rush. Because once you start a bad habit with the cart, there's no going back. All right, especially bridleless and at Liberty. So I want to take my time when he gets really clear with all these cues. Walk, trot, stop, back up. Walk, trot, stop, back up. I need him to change directions. I need him to get relaxed. And just little by little, he's going to start to think more. So I'm going to change directions here. Good. All right, and for those of you worried that I'm going to get kicked, it's possible, but I trust my man here. I wouldn't even be worried about teaching him to drive bridleless if I was worried about him kicking me, all right? Because there has to be a big level of trust when you're talking about driving your horse bridleless. There's a reason why there's not many people out there doing it because it's challenging, it's difficult for the person and the horse, and it forces people to think about really letting go and giving a lot of responsibility to your horse. And Floki is one of the smartest horses that I've ever been around. He picks up things so quickly. He's confident and he's a beautiful horse. And I think he just has that personality of a showman to say, yes, I can be a bridleless driving horses, right? So I wouldn't recommend most horses attempt this at home. You have to have the right knowledge. You have to have the right horse, okay? And you have to have time and patience and knowledge of Liberty as well to put it all together so that you can teach your horse to drive. And him driving is not going to be all that he does. It's just going to be a small piece in the knowledge that we help share with him. So we're going to try it one more time. Good. So I'm going to ask him we're going to go for a little walk here. Good. And you see I'm just asking that stick at his shoulder to say, hey, I want you to turn. Good. And then we're going to ask for a little trot again. Good. Really nice. He wants to turn in on me. Good. So I'm just asking him to go straight. There we go. Good. Good. And then I'm going to ask him to stop. Yeah. Then I'm going to ask him to back up. I want to be able to back up on both sides. You see he's thinking about turning. Don't turn, Floki. Nice try. Nice try. Nope. Nice try. Nope. Nice try. And you see how he's just getting confused? So I'm asking him to go back here and take one step back with me. Good. Good boy. And so I have to help him understand what it is that I want. And I just keep saying, nice try, nice try, nice try. And then I'll try it again. Because it's not like he was trying to be bad there. right? He's a lot more connected than he was at the beginning, but he was kind of a little bit confused. So I'm gonna wash, rinse, repeat here again. I'm gonna ask him forward. I'm gonna ask him to turn towards the middle. You see how this stick's just kind of going towards that shoulder? Good, as soon as he turns, I release and bring that stick back. Good. So Floki also knows to turn by his hind quarters as well. So if for whatever reason the shoulder doesn't work, I'm able to make that change through the shoulder. So this right side's a little bit more difficult for him, all right, because he's having to look at me through the right side, which is not his confident side. And so I'm just helping him find that confidence going forward. Good. And I'm going to ask him to trot a little bit. Good boy. I mean, this is pretty cool. I can just picture it now. Floki and I driving that cart together. And driving and stopping. And backing up. Good boy. So I'm going to call it on that piece right there, because that was a really phenomenal job of him staying connected. You saw us work through some of the issues that came up. Right at the beginning he wasn't connected, so I asked him forward. We had Finn, our amazing cattle dog, in the mix. Right, this is just real life. I want you to show you what's going on each and every day. Then he didn't want to stop, then he didn't want to back up, and this is just how we work through things to really help him start to understand what it is that we want. So the next step after we have liberty, walk and trot, both sides, stop, back up, both sides, is then I want to start introducing the ropes, okay? And this is going to be the neck rope or something very similar as my emergency brake. People are like, well, that doesn't seem like a very good or big emergency brake, but it's just a neck rope with a rope behind it, right? Just like I would have a bridle, but instead of a bridle, it's a piece of rope. Okay, nothing else, nothing more. You can use a lariat rope, or it doesn't really matter what you put on there. Okay, but for me, this is what I like the most. So the first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that he backs up softly off the neck rope alone. Good. Because if not, I'm in really, really, really big trouble. Okay, because if he won't back up off of this when I'm attached to him, or a cart is down the road, right, we're in trouble. And I do that, and I start that by just like you see here, right? I'm going to first add a little bit of contact, a little bit of bumping with that neck rope. Good. Then I can just use that stick a little bit to help keep him straight. Good. Because he already knows to back up from the stick. So now I'm just introducing the back up with the neck rope. If you get stuck with this, what I would like to do is I like to be able to go to a rail, any type of fence line that's straight, and I'm going to practice going to the fence, asking them forward. All right, you can start at the walk or the trot, then I'm going to stop, add a little contact there, and back them up using that neck rope. As you can see, Floki's pretty responsive because I was playing with him a little bit before this, not for this video, but for a while back, because I was thinking about training him to ride. Obviously, I'm too big to ride him, but down the road, someone would want to ride him. So I've been teaching him the fundamentals of just letting him know that he can back up off this neck rope. And obviously all that we do in our profession is we do liberty and bridleless. So just because he's a mini doesn't mean he can't learn bridleless as well. So that's what we're hoping to do. So anyway, I have probably a 20-foot rope here attached to that. And then once I feel like I have a pretty good backup, all right, then I'm going to start thinking about driving him again. Okay, so I'm going to put this rope probably through, not through yet, but I'm going to kind of let it hang down because I don't want it too attached to him yet. All right, because if it's too attached to him at the beginning, then I don't really know what's going to happen, and I don't want him to be attached to a rope, and then the worst thing that I can do is just try to hold on to him. So if he were to run away from me right now, right, then I would ask him, just ask him to stop first, and then I would let go of the neck rope. You see how he's kind of leg yielding a little bit? Good. So I'm just kind of trying to keep that in the middle of his butt. Good. That's it. I'm going to come around. So this is the same thing that we were doing before. All right, but now I have a rope attached to his neck. Good. All All right, and if he were to think about taking off or speeding up or doing something, I'm going to ask him to stop and back up. Good. So as we come around here so you can see me, I'm going to go ahead and stop. You see he's thinking up there, and then I'm going to ask him to back up. I'm going to ask him to turn that nose. Then I'm going to ask him to back up there. Nope, turn that nose. Good, and back up. Good, and then we're going to try it again. So I'm going to ask him forward. The good thing is he didn't run through that neck rope. The good news is he really stopped and backed up off of it. If he ever feels like he's going to run through this neck rope, I'm going to go ahead and take it off and get him better at liberty first. Good. So I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to back up. There we go. So the same thing I would do on the side of him. Good. Is that if he wants to turn and face me, I'm going to ask him to move that shoulder away. Good. That's it. So I'm going to ask him to go forward again, and I'm going to wash, rinse, repeat this until he really thinks about going back, backing up straight. Good. So once you add more ropes and more things to all of it, that's when things get a little bit more confusing for our horse. And again, it's just a piece of rope. All right, so it's not like I can really hold him back. Yes, he's a mini, but he's pretty strong. All right, he is not a weak at heart mini. He's very prideful, he's very smart, and I really need him to think about really relaxing and coming off that neck rope. Good, so I'm going to try to stop there. So I'm bumping that neck rope, and you see he wanted to walk through that neck rope a little bit. So then I stopped him, backed him up. He keeps wanting to turn into me. Good, so I want him just to stop straight. Good, that's it. And I'm glad that he's thinking back up, right? It's good because that's going to help him think. Stay off my neck rope. Good, because that is going to be what I need to feel safe, is him really being responsive to that stopping and backing up. I'm going to use the turning with my stick, okay? And I am going to use the stopping and backing up with my neck rope, right? But eventually, I don't want to have to be able to use the neck rope. The neck rope will just be for in case of emergencies, right? But, good. Then I'm going to back him up. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm going to give him a cookie there. Because even though it wasn't perfectly straight, I'm not going to give him a cookie anymore. Because you see how he wants to turn into me? He has to stay straight. Because if he doesn't stay straight, now think about what it's going to happen when we're in a cart. He can't be turning and facing me. Good. So I was almost going to give him a reward, but the stop, good, has got to be straight. And that's the reason, well, I like to give him cookies on this side, this opposite side of where we're going. Because that will want him to think about straight and go the opposite way. Okay, so again, this is just the next step and where we go. Let's say this neck rope kept falling off from one side to the other, then I could just wrap it around here or put this rope through one of these little rings here, and that would just help him or help that rope stay a little bit more central on his body. But you see, I'm not really doing anything different that I was doing before. The only thing different is now I added a neck rope and a rope. So now I'm attached to him. Now I'm really stepping up my game because he has to respond to that. You see, he wants to go a little fast. So I'm asking him to back up there. He thought about running through it. He wants to turn and face. He can't do that, right? He needs to think about there. Stopping and backing up. I don't know if you could see that very well, but he's thinking about running away from me, and I just added a little bit of pressure to that neck rope, and I said, hey, stop. There we go, because that, remember, it's like now I'm attached. I cannot let go unless I feel good, like he's going to run away with me and I can't hold him. I have a pretty long rope and I'm pretty fast, All right, but luckily with the Liberty Foundation, he's gonna wanna turn and look at me before anything else, before he just gallops away. Okay, but in a cart, when he's attached to it, he cannot do that. So I hope you're getting the idea of what it is that we're trying to do here. All right, and again, it's really important that he responds and thinks, I'm still attached mentally, but I need confidence in him that he's going to do the right thing. But if all else fails, I have to have this neck rope for safety. All right, because I want to stay safe. I want Floki to stay safe. Good. And that's the most important thing, is that we all stay safe and we have fun together. Okay, good. Just little by little, he's getting a little bit better. He's getting more confident, and I'm only starting at the walk right now because he's not quite ready for the trot with this back up. Good, so he's trying to brace into that. Good. And I'm trying to keep this neck rope as loose as possible on his neck because I don't want constant pressure. I want that neck rope to mean something. Okay, I want that neck rope to mean stop and back up. Good. So I'm going to ask him to stop here. So yes, good boy. And then I'm going to ask him to back up. Yeah. Okay, so he didn't think straight again, but he didn't quite turn. Good. So stop again. Get that nose over. Good. There we go. So it's not perfect, but it shouldn't be, right? This is his first time actually doing this. So I'm going to keep backing up here. There, until he's straight. Good boy. Then I'm going to ask him forward again. That's it. And again, I want him to think about stepping. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to get him straight again. Good. Then back him up again. And I'm using this rail to help me until he backs up straight. There. Better. Good boy. You see, because he still wants to turn into me. Good. And I'm going to ask him to go forward. Good. Then I'm asking him to stop. Then I'm going to ask him to back up. There it is. There it is. He knew that he did really well on that. So I gave him a cookie there. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably take this neck rope off, tell him he's a good boy, and then continue it on the next session.